Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emma. I have been a horse rider for 40 years, in fact over 40 years now, and I have bred, owned and competed horses for that entire time. And I'm here to just decode the world of horses for you guys, to make you feel like you're not alone in this crazy journey that is horse riding. So today we're going to talk about my 7.5 tips, episode 1, to deal with fear when you're riding. And this is something really real to everyone. And if you think you're alone, you're definitely not. And wait till the very end, because the last half tip, I think, is the coolest tip of all, or the best one that I've got in my toolkit. I've got a few stories that I want to tell you about my own riding journey over the years and how I've dealt with fear. But let's just get one thing straight. You are not alone, okay? You're not alone in terms of the fear you feel when you're riding. We all feel fear, and this is one of the points I'm going to make. But every single person that's on board a sentient animal that has a mind of its own and legs of its own and a body of its own, that we have to work with is going to feel fear at some point. And you are, because you're feeling fear, I don't believe it's anything to be ashamed of. Some riders think it's something to be ashamed of. It absolutely isn't. And remember, if you are finding some use out of my videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It kind of helps keep me motivated at the moment to make videos for you. But let's get started with tip number 1. So tip number 1, if you've had a fall or something has happened to you that has shaken your confidence, just remind yourself why you love to ride. So write down why you love to ride. What does it bring to you? For me personally, it brings so much to me. It's hard to list everything. I mean, it brings me my mental health for sure. If I'm having a bad day, I go out and ride. It brings me calm, peace. It gives me a whole bunch of fitness and strength benefits. I mean, the list is endless. But if you have had a shake and you're questioning why you're riding, why you're doing this crazy sport, which, I mean, over the years, I have questioned a lot why on earth I'm doing this. It costs so much money. It takes so much time. It takes away from other things in your life. And I've got a video around, what horse riding really is, and I'll link that here. But essentially, list down in a nice little notebook why you love to ride, and keep adding to that list. When you've had a great ride, add to the list. Write down what you enjoyed about that ride or your ride on that day. It really helps just reframe why you're riding. It helps reframe the entire scenario. I think we all get so serious about our riding sometimes. I certainly do. We put pressure on ourselves, or other people put pressure on us. Bring it back to yourself. Forget about what other people are saying to you. This is another point. But forget about what other people are saying to you, or why you should be riding or shouldn't be riding. Bring it back to me, why I'm riding, why I love it, and it will help you get back in the saddle if you've had a bit of a fright. Okay, tip number 2 is to remember this is your journey. It's actually nobody else's journey. If you're a teenager or a young child watching this, or somebody who's, perhaps somebody else is paying for your riding. Maybe you're a teenager and mum and dad are paying for your riding and they're putting pressure on you, or you're feeling pressure from peers or a coach, or just anyone in your life that's putting pressure on you. I want you to remember this is your journey. You own it. And I am giving you permission. If you are scared at any point, like scared to the point of crying, and I've seen so many people, adults as well, that are busy riding and they're so scared that they're crying and they're pushing through it and thinking it's heroic. It's actually not heroic, and it's certainly not heroic for the horse. If you're so scared that you're crying and getting upset and you've got a coach or a parent yelling at you, you're not achieving anything, and you're certainly not achieving anything for the horse either. So if you think you're doing the horse a favor or yourself a favor, you're actually not. You're better to hop off, take a breath, take a half out, go take a drink of water, not alcohol, but, go take a drink of Coke or something. Take a breath, reset, and then hop back on when you've kind of gathered your mind and your nerves. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But, you have my permission to hop off. Do not let anyone force you to keep riding at any point, especially coaches. I see far too many coaches pushing kids in particular through scenarios, and the kids bawling and the parents yelling and everyone's getting upset and the horse is tense, and it's just a really bad scenario in general. So you have my permission to own your journey, to own your ride. This is your ride. Your mother's not in the saddle, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt's sister's friend, your coach, they are not in the saddle. You're in the saddle. So own your ride, own your mental health when you're riding, and hop back on when you are ready. Okay, and be strong about that. You have my permission. Just think of this video. Think of me. You have my permission to own your journey and your ride. So tip number 3 is fake it till you make it. And this might sound a bit twee or a bit trite or whatever you want to call it, and like I'm being funny. I'm actually not being funny. I have it on really good authority from top riders who go around badminton, they do the Olympics, they show jump at a meter 65, they do World Cups. Okay, they have the skills, but a lot of the time they're absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. And they are genuinely faking it till they're making it. Remember, the horse picks up on every single thought, feeling, movement that you have in the saddle. They know what you're thinking. I had a horse when I was in my very early 20s, and I would be cantering around in a circle, and I would just think trot, and she would start trotting. And I've had similar experiences with other horses. They know what you're thinking. I used to come up to great big huge fences, and I'll try and find a photo of a particular one that scared the bejesus out of me, and I was absolutely petrified. And I jumped that fence with complete fake confidence, and the horse flew it. And you can see in this photo, I'm going to find it and post it, here somewhere. But you can see in this photo that I look super confident, and so does the horse. That's because it was all fake. It was literally like I was totally faking it. I'm telling you now. And, I know so many riders that I speak to, and they're just like, I'm faking it till I'm making it. I'm absolutely petrified about that jump, and that jump, or that thing and that thing, but I'm just got to do it anyway. I've got to put my brave pants on and just get out there and kind of trick myself into doing it. And it doesn't mean you're not calculated with how you ride. With that jump, I knew how I was going to ride to the jump. Definitely had that in my head, and I had visualized myself going over that jump, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I was still damn petrified when I was galloping down to it. It was huge. I mean, that horse in that photo there was 16.3, so you know how big that jump is just by gauging on that. So, fake it till you make it. You can do it. If you're petrified, just fake it till you make it. It works. I promise you, it does. And all the top riders use that little trick. Promise you, they do. Okay, tip number 4 is a question. Are your butterflies in a row? So, when you get butterflies in your stomach, which is absolute nerves, have you placed them in formation, or are they flying around your gut like crazy? And this was something my father said to me when I was 15, and I was on a national team, and I was the last to ride, and I had to ride clear over this quite big cross-country course. And just before me, a girl had a really nasty fall, and she'd been chopped off to hospital. Like, it was not good. Like, I think she almost died. It was not good. And I was really, really genuinely scared, and my father could see that, and he came up to me and he said a couple of things. First of all, he said, can you deal with dying? And I kind of said, well, probably, as long as it was quick. And he said, well, get out there and do it. Probably not the most helpful advice. But the other piece of advice he said to me, how are the butterflies? And I said, the butterflies are bad. The butterflies are, doing flips in my gut at the moment. He said, well, you've got to get them in formation. And what he meant by that was channel my nerves, channel that energy, channel that fear into something positive. So what this means in like a sports psychology term, I guess, is to reframe the fact that you have nerves. Nerves are actually, in a horse riding context, really, really quite quite beneficial for you, because adrenaline makes you think sharper as a person, it makes your brain think sharper. Your reactions are quicker. So if you're going over a cross country or a big show jumping course and you've got adrenaline, it's actually a positive thing, and you've got nerves, they help you. So when you're feeling nervous, think about your butterflies, put them in formation, and think, these nerves are going to help me. If you weren't nervous, you should be worried. Just think, Emma, I know I'm feeling nervous, and this is a good thing. I'm sharper because of my nerves. I'm going to ride better because of my nerves. So, this is all positive stuff. And if you think about it in that way, it will help you when you're feeling this way. So tip number 5 is a pre-ride mental routine. So a tactical check. Have you gone through your course or your test plan or whatever it is you're doing? If you've got some kind of pattern to ride or whatever that might be, have you gone through that in your mind? Do you know it off by heart? Are you ready? If you're not ready, of course you're going to be nervous, because or you think you're going to stuff up, and you most likely will. Number 2 is a breath reset. Are you taking some deep breaths? There are certain ways, breath work, you can do to help sort of calm yourself down and refocus your mind. And these really help. And cue words as well. If your coach is saying particular things to me, my coach always used to say to me, Emma, get your heels down, because I always used to have a problem with my heels, funnily enough. And so are you saying these things to yourself? Soft hands, open your chest, heels down, leg on, whatever that might be that you're not particularly good at. Repeat that in your head as you go, as you're going around the course. And then visualize your ride. If you're going over a show jumping course, visualize going through the finish flags and or starting and finishing, or visualize the whole course. Visualize yourself riding a test or your pattern or whatever you might be doing. And that really, really helps you become positive about your ride as well. Tip number 6 is just really it's not so much a tip, but it's more a comment that I have for you. And that is, this is supposed to be fun. We often get fearful in competition, and probably I've spoken more about competition fear than fear in just general riding. And I'll do another video about fear. My next video, I think I'll do about fear in a general riding context. If you've had a fall or a knock or something that's tripped you up, I'll talk about getting back in the saddle and finding your confidence to ride. But this is more of a comment, and that is, this is supposed to be fun. When it becomes really not fun, and sometimes riding is not fun, but when it becomes not fun for a long period of time, perhaps you've been riding and it becomes not fun. And, there have been times in my riding life when I've really not enjoyed my riding for a number of various reasons, a whole bunch of reasons. But when it becomes not fun over a long period of time and you're getting really fed up with your riding, maybe it's costing too much, or people at the barn are nasty, or your horse is just not right for you. You need to make a change, because you're putting so much time and effort and investment and energy into this sport. It's a huge sport. It's one of the most difficult sports on the planet. And maybe I'm biased, but I actually truly believe it, because you are working with an animal, and it's expensive, man. It's super expensive. Let's face it. If you own a horse, and on top of that, if you're competing a horse, you're spending a lot of money. So if it becomes not fun over a long period of time, you probably need to do a bit of a reassessment about what's going wrong for you in the sport. Do you need a change of horse? Genuinely, some horses you just don't gel with. Do you need to change your barn situation if you're at a barn with your horse and the barn doesn't suit you? Do you need to change your coach? Maybe you need a new coach. And it's not that the coach is a nasty person or not competent. It might just be that you don't gel with them, or you're not learning, or you're feeling frustrated. Maybe try a new coach. Any number of things that could be tripping you up with your riding journey. If it's not fun anymore, change something. Just change something. Okay, so my last half tip is, if you have had a bad fall or a bad experience, that's okay. Don't feel ashamed of it. We all fall. It's the nature of the sport. And what I want you to do for me is take things slowly. Don't push yourself. Just be kind to yourself. If you have to spend a few weeks just walking your horse around and not being on board, or lunging the horse, or spending time with your horse and reconnecting and re-establishing trust, do that. And it doesn't matter what anybody says about it. Stuff them. Again, it's your journey. And yeah, so half tip, be kind to yourself. If you are fearful, it's okay. I've been absolutely scared in my riding career. I still do get scared the older I get. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die most days. No, not really, but it's your journey. Own it. Take care of yourself. I'd love to know your comments of how you handle fear. I'm going to do more in this fear series. This is my first video. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. It helps other people like you access this video. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.